It is believed that eventually the victim of the Mary syndrome may even regress beyond the prenatal level, reverting to a pre-human condition of savagery and cannibalism.
This week on 66 Horror Flix, I'm excited to be talking about Jack Hill's piece de resistance, Spiderbaby. Spiderbaby was released in 1967. It was filmed in just 12 days in Glendale and Chatsworth, California, which in 1967 was evidently like the desert. It was written and directed by Jack Hill, who would go on to make classics like Coffee, Foxy Brown, and Switchblade Sisters. The film features two absolute horror icons, Lon Chaney Jr., who's best known for playing the Wolfman in the classic Universal horror films, and Sid Haig, who nowadays is best known for... Okay, if you're watching the show, I don't really have to explain to you what Sid Haig's best known for these days, right? Made for an anemically small budget, Spiderbaby is a bit of a precursor to the deranged family subgenre of horror films. These films are best exemplified by films like Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and later on Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. So see, Sid Haig is kind of like the bookends on either side of the genre. The film also features two younger actresses, Beverly Washburn and Jill Banner, in the key roles of Elizabeth and Virginia Mary. And their simultaneously alluring and disturbing performances are a big part of why this film has had the lasting effect it has. More on that in a bit. Spiderbaby documents the story of the Mary family, whose members suffer from a strange disorder, what the film labels a kind of progressive deterioration of the mental faculties. This degeneration has rendered the teenage daughters childlike and simple, while turning their older brother Ralph into something almost animal-like. The three youths are looked after by aging caretaker Bruno, played by Lon Chaney Jr. A forgotten aunt and uncle show up with a scheme to adopt the children and thereby inherit the estate, with the help of a sleazy attorney called, wait for it, Mr. Schlocker. Of course, these interlopers soon realized that they should have stayed the heck away from the Mary house and the people who live there. The film's unique title comes from a game the dark-haired daughter Virginia enjoys playing. The game is called Spider, and while the rules are never made abundantly clear, it apparently involves a net, knives, and the requisite disposal of bodies afterwards. See, it seems that the curse that dematures these family members eventually regresses them back to a primal, savage version of humanity that's driven by hatred and the need to kill. This is a really dark theme for a kind of campy movie like this, the idea that deep down within our ancient primordial selves, we're inherently vicious creatures. Lon Chaney Jr. was only 61 when he made Spiderbaby, but you can see in the film that it had been a pretty rough 61 years. The son of silent movie horror icon Lon Chaney Sr., Lon Jr. had had a decades-long struggle with alcoholism, and it had taken its toll on his career as well as his body. But you can see he really puts himself out there in this film, and his performance is as endearing and whimsical as it is unsettling. Chaney would only do a few more films before his untimely death at age 67, and since we're talking about bookends, I've always thought his character here in Spiderbaby is sort of a nice callback to his breakout portrayal of Lenny in 1939's Of Mice and Men. In that film, he's the one needing looking after by his friend George, while in this film, he's finally graduated to the role of caretaker. And by the way, I know it's not a horror movie, but if you haven't seen the Lon Chaney, Burgess Meredith version of Mice and Men, seriously, just go see it. We'll be here when you get back. I'm honestly not sure how to quantify Sid Haig's performance in this film. Can I just say he's amazing and leave it at that? Like, I know that's not exactly a critical analysis, but seriously, this is one of the most hilarious, bizarre, disturbing roles in any film ever. This guy's on like a Todd Browning's Freaks level here. Shortly after completion, the film's producers declared bankruptcy, and the film was held up in litigation for several years. After that, it was shown at midnight double bill screenings, at one point actually having its name switched to The Liver Eaters, before being lost for decades. Seriously, everyone thought this movie was gone forever. Luckily, in the 1990s, a print surfaced, and Jack Hill himself released it on home video. Some films are worth watching because they're brilliant, some are just so bizarre they're fascinating. But some films have a mythology that exists apart from their screen story, and that stretches across the decades from the time the film was made until the moment you press play. Spiderbaby is one of those films, and that's why it's on this list. I'm Jim Towns, and you're watching 66 Horror Flix.
One time I hit the ball.